Hello there guys, what is going on? Son of Chelsea back here again for my rational perspective on Chelsea 4, Crystal Palace 0. Wonderful to be able to witness that game and wonderful to be able to talk about that game. All the negativity and sort of concern this week, let's put that behind us and just focus on what to me was an absolutely brilliant performance. It really was. It was better than I expected it to be, especially against a team like Palace who, you know what you're going to get from Palace. You know it's going to be rigid, you're going to be frustrated, you have to be patient, you have to be intelligent, not only in defence but attack as well. And to see Chelsea go out there with uncertain times at the moment, with rotation, with players coming in and out, the concern over this season, all the players betting in for what was a really complete performance, an intelligent performance. And that's the main point for me, was balance. Chelsea have lacked balance so often under Frank Lampard, but today we had it. We'll get into all of that. I want to ask you guys, before we get into my review and discuss this brilliant game, I want to ask you guys, if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you never miss an upload. Also hit a like button if you're enjoying the content, because it helps out the channel as well. So the starting lineup, 4-2-3-1. It does seem now that that's, at least for the short term, is going to be the main formation Frank Lampard sticks to. And that was interesting based on what I predicted last night in terms of a team and what actually was put out. That back five, Chilwell, Zouma, Silva, Dave and Mendy. Of course, Thiago Silva coming back in. But the bulk of the back four that started against Tottenham, the bulk of the back five, of course, with Mendy as well, starting against Tottenham, started again. And I think that was good to have that consistency and bringing in Thiago Silva, who I thought had a brilliant game alongside Kurt Zouma. I think those two worked a really good partnership. And once again, as we'll get to, Ben Chilwell had an absolutely brilliant game, his full debut at Stamford Bridge in the Premier League. But that first half, I guess, of course there was going to be frustration. But I think I was encouraged by the way Chelsea played. I think the balance issue once again. I think Chelsea never today looked to me exposed that we could get done very easily on transition, which is something we've seen so often under Frank Lampard. Look at last week, look at other games frequently. And I think it was a variety of things for me. I think mainly it was that midfield. And I think Jorginho, of course, there's so much doubts about his long-term future under Lampard, doubts about him fitting in at Chelsea. To me, he had one of his best games in a very long time today. And I actually think it worked playing Jorginho, because if there's one game where you feel, or a type of game where you feel Jorginho can excel, it's against a low block. It's against a team who aren't going to press you heavily, press up high. And Jorginho can get on the ball, dictate play. Some lovely balls in that first half. I mean, range of passing from side to side. It was unfortunate Chelsea just couldn't capitalise on it. There was one ball that he played in behind to Tammy Abraham, almost a deceived long ball through that unfortunately Tammy couldn't make the most of. But I think Jorginho was absolutely wonderful today, and of course getting those 2 penalty goals as well to really top off what was a brilliant performance. I think, of course, man of the match is going to be Ben Chilwell. What a full debut in the Premier League for Ben Chilwell. For months on this channel, before he signed, before we got a left back, I did think left back was one of the top priorities for Chelsea this season, to really rectify a problem area. And it was a variety of things. Once again, that word, coming back to that word balance, the acceleration we need to overlap, to commit men forward, to have a player that can get back and forth. There were a few times, of course, that Chilwell was caught out, but I think once again, the solidity in midfield, the intelligence and sort of the pursuit and sort of the anger, I guess, in sense of Chelsea players today to really go after the ball. When one player made a mistake, there was a Chelsea player there to rectify it. In the few times it did happen. And I think that really helped. Very much more of a team collective game today, which is what I really liked, because I think alongside Ben Chilwell, of course, scoring that opening goal, and really against Palace, we saw this actually last year. It was very similar today's game to the game we played against Palace at Stamford Bridge last season, where it was a 0-0 first half. Chelsea had most of the ball, trying to create opportunities. But getting this first goal against this Palace side is absolutely massive, because it really alters what Palace are doing on the pitch. And Chelsea were very intelligent to then, after that first goal, keep a hold of the ball, keep it moving, try and commit Palace and try and force them a little bit further out, and then try and get that second goal, which eventually came. And Ben Chilwell today, I think from the moment the game got started, I think had a really strong game. It wasn't just creatively moving forward, getting into some really good positions, adding that width that Chelsea need. I mean, there were certain times where you just looked at certain things Ben Chilwell did, even if they didn't come off, like 1-2s or moving forward types of play where you're like, neither Emerson or especially Marcos Alonso are giving you that. And that's what the dynamic that Ben Chilwell was going to add to Chelsea. But that second half, being in the right place, absolutely smashing the ball into the back of the net. But I loved, him whenever Palace would try and get out from our press and would try and hit the ball long, Chilwell getting to the ball first, heading it away. And I think that very much epitomized the team sort of play today. Intelligent fouls, which is something that fans don't like to talk about, but sort of the dirty side of the game management. I think there were many times where Palace could have broken on us, but I think especially in that first half and at times in that second half, we made intelligent fouls. And it wasn't just only defenders, it was attackers, like whether it was Timo Werner, Callum Hudson-Odoi, Tammy, or I saw Kai Havertz doing it a few times, and Chilwell was another one of those players to really help balance the team out, get us back into a defensive structure. But of course, that first goal and then that second goal from Kurt Zouma, brilliant ball in from Ben Chilwell. I mean, it was absolutely exquisite. And Ben Chilwell, to me, looks like he may finally be the answer to our corner-taking problems for many years. I mean, he put in some lovely deliveries from both sides today with that left foot, and really giving a lot of opportunities for Chelsea players to get on the end of them. Really dangerous balls into the box that were very hard to defend for Palace. And just before that second goal from Kurt Zouma, there was a ball from Ben Chilwell, a corner that Zouma should have scored. It was a brilliant ball, but then of course from the other side, Chilwell putting a ball in. Kurt Zouma, wonderful leap, and I don't know how much he meant it. I mean, Kurt, he seems to he can be so dangerous in the air with his leap, the amazing leap he has. But sometimes he can get it really wrong. But he got it perfect there, and Aguero had absolutely no chance in goal. And from there, you started to relax. I think that was a massive goal for Chelsea. The confidence in the game to really reassert our dominance in that game. And then the third and fourth goals, both being penalties, clear penalties. Tammy, Mitchell taking out Tammy, Jorginho stepping up. And then the second penalty, I know this will obviously be brought up as maybe a bit of a negative. Tammy really desperately wants to take that penalty to get a goal. Jorginho taking a penalty. But what I really loved about that situation was Dave really getting in there and asserting himself as the leader, getting in there, stopping any fires, pulling Tammy away from the situation. No, Jorginho is the penalty taker. And I'm sure Frank will like that, seeing leadership from Dave, because you could track back to the Kepa situation with Sarri at Wembley, not really having that, dragging him off the pitch. I love to see that from Dave. And you know, I don't mind that from Tammy. You know, it's about his all-round play. And I think even after that, he was tracking back, making good runs. So I don't have too much against Tammy. Of course, you don't want to see it, players fighting, but they sorted out that situation very quickly. Jorginho stepped up, no problem. Another penalty scored in, and it was 4-0. And alongside that, of course, got to give shout-outs to N'Golo Kante, who looked back to his best today. And as I say, that balance, Kante filling in when a player be out of position. I think Kante all round today had one of his best performances. And just looking around the team as well, I thought Callum had decent moments. I never really got into the game, as well as Timo Werner, to be honest. I just wonder with Werner, him being central, with Pulisic now back fit, I wouldn't be too stunned if Werner now moves into a central position, because he's really being taken out of the game at the moment. I mean, Kai's getting into the game as well. I just wonder with Werner, we're really not playing to his strengths. I don't think you can say Timo's playing bad. He has a good head on him. He looks very confident and very sharp. It's just the sense of getting him into those really dangerous positions that Chelsea need to work on. But overall, this was an amazing performance. It really was. Alongside that, Mendy has very little to do. I mean, there was a stat that came out after the game that Edouard Mendy had more touches than Wilfried Zaha. And you think about the game, the perfect game for Chelsea, shutting down Palace's biggest threat. That's the perfect scenario right there. Mendy had very little to do. And I think Thiago Silva, another good game. I thought Dave had a good game. I think the structure within the team looks a lot better today. Yes, Chelsea will have challenges further down the line, but I think it's just that sort of game at this time of the season, considering recent performances, that really I hope will settle people down. Look at this team, look at the strengths of this team, and I think it's the sort of performance we want to see a lot more this season. Balance, control, assertiveness, and clinical in front of goal to get that dominant victory today at the Bridge and the 3 points. So we go off into the international break now. A little bit frustrating that you get that good a performance and then you have to go an international break, but good all the same. We can enjoy our weekend now, relax. Please let me know your thoughts, guys, in the comments below on this victory. Who was your man of the match? My man of the match was Ben Chilwell. I thought he was absolutely incredible today, but I wouldn't be too against Jorginho as well. He had a brilliant game too. But please let me know your opinions. Thank you guys so much for taking the time to watch this video. If you did enjoy it, hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you never miss an upload. Follow me on Twitter @SonofChelsea. Have a great day, and I'll see you again.